To be fair, what a good weekend we've chosen to speak about the Premier League again. We'll start at 12:30 Saturday. The Manchester derby. You two boys looking very smug at the moment because your team just keeps going from strength to strength. And look, I have to give you guys credit, man. Like Ten Hag has come in first 2 games, right? It wasn't looking good, but he's absolutely turned it around. And I just want to read some stuff on Ten Hag that I've just before I got here saw. So 9 wins in a row for United now.
Big.
Hasn't been done since Sir Alex. 72% win rate for Ten Hag at the moment.
It's got to be the highest of any United manager ever, isn't it?
Best start
at this stage, At this stage, he's the fastest United to 20 wins for United manager.
Huge again.
And Pep, Klopp, and Arteta did not have anywhere near this percentage of a win rate when they first joined. So he's played all of the top 6 at home, bar Chelsea. He's won all of the games, so he's made Old Trafford the fortress. He's got Marcus Rashford absolutely on the form of his life.
Who's Mbappe, bro?
The English Mbappe scored 7 goals, 7 home games.
7 home games
in a row.
Absolute killer.
I mean, the last time these 2 teams played, it wasn't good. 6-3 to Man City. Complete turnaround this time around. Louis, what's been the difference, man? What's changed?
I think you can pinpoint a few things. I think confidence, which is the biggest thing in football. I've always said this. Once you get confidence, that confidence breeds more confidence, and you just keep going and going. But for me, the most important is personnel-wise, and that's Casemiro. He is... You know, this guy, I'm not going to lie, I maybe it was me just being like a casual Premier League fan, but like whenever I watched him for Madrid, like he was obviously good, but I always just thought he used to just foul people. But, you know, watching this guy up close, he's just like a born winner. He's got past that criticism. People were saying he's come for the last payday, blah, blah, blah. He's just incredible. I mean, last time when United played City was at the Etihad, and McTominay played. The contrast between them 2 players,
night and day, man.
Is complete night and day. You've got a born winner who knows where to be, and I mean, he didn't have his best game yesterday, but his bad game is better than 95% of DMs in the world's good games. He knows when to make those tactical fouls. He knows how to be a bit of a bastard. He's a born winner, and it made me smile seeing when that second goal went in. He's run over to the fans straight away, and he's jumped in there and he's smiling. That's the happiest I've ever seen him, and I've seen the guy lift 5 Champions Leagues.
And when he scored against Chelsea all those months ago,
there's a bang in the chest, everything. It was like different sort of United, just seeing the confidence running through the team. That, you know, when there's a defender that makes a block, last ditch tackle, everyone's hugging, slapping chest. It's like you can see the passion, and they're all together. It's a team. I think now we've got rid of some of the toxicity in the club. Some of the players, I won't mention names, but you know, some of them are in sort of foreign countries at the moment, getting their last paycheck. But now you get some of that out of the team. You can just see that they're all there for each other. That first half performance, that, you know, the solidarity we had in that team, the movement, the defending, everything about that first half performance against City, to keep them out. It's not an easy task, man. It's not. And you know, we're at home. I get that. But that, you know, I've never seen City look so confused in the thirds. Like, they don't know where to pass the ball. They're going backwards so much. And it, and you can see that Ten Hag's really instilled that into them, and that's something that comes from the training ground, and that's something that's clearly been worked on over time. You can see it progressing. I think overall, Man United as a team don't look the best going forward, like in terms of football. It's a bit more counter attack, and it's always been like that. I think that's just a bit about what United are about. But in terms of the progress, in terms of the, you know, defending side of things, you can see that making Aaron Wan-Bissaka look great, bro.
I was going to say,
you're making him look like a world class defender at times. I mean, don't get me wrong, him going forward's still a donkey, but you know, the fact that
good moments going forward yesterday.
He looked good. Like, I was surprised, and I've always said that about Wan-Bissaka. People say, "Oh, he's shit," but he's obviously not shit. He just had no confidence.
I've got to give a big shout out to Wan-Bissaka, right? Because when he was out of the team, there was no bitchiness, there was no crying, whinging, there was no interviews, there was no tweets, there was no Instagram posts, there was no shadiness. It was just, I'm going to get my head down, my opportunity will come, and when your opportunity comes, you have to take it, especially with these big teams. And I think, look, we all know he's not the most talented of footballers. He's not, like, for instance, as talented as a Jogadalo. He's not someone like that. He's not like a Luke Shaw. He's not someone who's, like, supremely talented, but I think when you work hard and when you're determined to get what you want and you seize your opportunity, that's all you can do in life. Because how many United players over the years, especially under Fergie, who aren't the most talented, but they got to the top by being great team players, by working hard, by being honest. I mean, there's a great example. Gary Neville was on commentary tonight. He's the perfect example of that. And that's not to say Aaron Wan-Bissaka is as talented as Gary Neville. He isn't. But Neville is one of the best right backs of the Premier League era. One of the best right backs ever to play the game. One of the most decorated. And that's not because he is like Cafu or Dani Alves. It's because he worked hard, he knew his limitations, and he did what he needed to do for the team. And I think Wan-Bissaka's starting to realise that. I think, again, another testament to Ten Hag is there's injuries and there's players coming in, there's players filling in different roles, and yet seamlessly they're still pulling out results. Luke Shaw at centre-back. I mean, Dallow's out. Fred came in yesterday and played sort of like a hybrid central left role. Martial came off and Rashford went centrally. Garnacho coming off the bench. Tyrone Malacia coming in. It's not easy to have continuity when, firstly, you've only had one window. Secondly, you came into a fractured dressing room originally. And third, you've got injuries. You've had the World Cup break. Martinez isn't fully fit as well. All of these things. If it were United over the last couple of years, they'd have crumbled. And they probably would have lost that game 2 or 3-0. But I think it's a testament to how he's got everyone on his side and he's got everyone working to a top level. And I think that's all you can do is just work with what you've got and get them players playing. Yeah,
I think that's what I'm so impressed by with Ten Hag is that he's working with what he has. Gone by the years, United have just thrown money at it and it's been like, okay, just make it work. Pogba, Zlatan, make it work. And it's just not worked. If you would have told me last season the back four of Wan-Bissaka, Luke Shaw, Varane and Malacia would keep City out comfortably like they did that game, I wouldn't have believed you at all.
Varane's a Rolls Royce, by the way.
Varane, he stepped up this season. I mean, I questioned him last season, but this season, he's having a top season. He's doing well for United. World Cup final last month as well. So massive testament to Ten Hag because he's been shrewd. He brought in Eriksen,
free transfer.
He's creeping up on the assists.
Yeah, I mean,
he's a stopgap for now.
He's another one who's got his limitations. I think sometimes defensively he hasn't got the legs, and I think that's an area that will be addressed within the next 18 months. But I mean, that's the scary thing. I don't think United are 10% of the way there in the project yet. No. Ten Hag, if you watch his Ajax teams, this team now is very different to that one that he built, and I think, again, that's a testament to him because the best coaches prove that they can adapt their style of play. He's not got the optimal players to play the system and the way he wants to play, but yet he's still getting results out of them. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what they can do in the summer. I know there's not a lot of money there at the moment, but they'll somehow find a way to sign these players, and there's a takeover potentially happening.
Yeah, I think the takeover has to happen for this team to really get to where it needs to be.
I agree.
It's quite clear that the Glazers have sort of let go of the United in terms of funding it. They've wasted a lot of money in the summer. I think Anthony for 100 million is a bit of a overpriced there, isn't it? I think Casemiro, even though Casemiro is clearly world class at the time, 60 million maybe could have got him for a little bit less if they worked it a little bit better, the deal. But I think Eriksen coming in on a free is a good deal. And Malacia. In terms of, like I said, you mentioned Malacia, about them, Malacia as well. 15. He was going somewhere else, and then
he was going Lyon.
He was going Lyon last
week. What is going on? Like, this is not Man United.
We're here for a meal.
But things like that. It's steps in the right direction. Nowhere near what we can be, and I think that team's got a lot of potential. And we've seen that the young players, our academy is really good as well. Garnacho's coming through, people like that. And it's something that I'm really sort of looking forward to in the next couple of years. And I think we've got the right man in the right job at the moment. The players all on side, and I'm really excited. But again, I think this year we're just going to we're in 4 cups, man. I don't know how, but
still in all competitions.
I think a successful season, and I think any United fan, and 95% of neutrals, obviously there's going to be the 5% who say whatever, would have said a cup and a top 4 finish is a successful season. And they're in a semi-final. They're in the 4th round of the FA Cup. They're in They're still in Europa League. They've got a huge clash against Barcelona, which I'm really interested in watching that game because it's two sides who it's it's a weird one because you expect Barcelona to play all this pretty football, but then you'd expect United to do that as well. And I don't think it's going to go that way. I think it's going to be a game that involves a lot of transitions. And I think, if anything, that kind of suits United. Mm-hmm. I think someone like Weghorst could be huge in that game. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how the next couple of years go, how this season goes as well. And then I think if they had a few additions in the summer, I think a striker will definitely happen. Yeah. I think there's a few good options for that. I mean, you've got Vlahovic and Kane, which is like the dream, I think. But then you've got guys like Osimhen, who will still cost a lot of money. Tony, if he can bust case, which I hope he does, man. I hope he does.
I do as well.
I don't think he will, but I hope he does. And I think that'd be a very shrewd signing as well.
If he's got Mendy's lawyer, he might be okay.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
exactly. 7 wins in a row, right? Looking formidable at home. You've got the most informed forward probably in the Premier League right now, Man United, Rashford. Actually, yeah, just on Rashford, Ralph, what do you think with him, like, what's been the difference this season? Is it his injuries? Because I think before people said he had a shoulder injury for like 2 years, he was playing with that. Kind of Rashford and Bruno, to be fair, because last season, a lot of United fans were like, these two players are who we, like, are the first names in the team sheet, but they're ultimately what hold us back. Look at them now. They kind of were because of how like prominent figures they are in terms of Man United. But yeah, with those two players there, like, what was it that Ten Hag was able to get the best out of them? Rangnick and Solskjaer last season.
Sorry for Rangnick.
Yeah, weren't able to get the best out of them. So I mean, what first of all, just Rashford, you want to speak on him?
So I've got a theory about Rashford. Okay. So last year, I think him and his missus broke up for a little bit.
They did.
Right. And he was starting to, and he had a few injuries and his head wasn't there. Now he's doing this celebration. Now it's the mentality business. Once he's got that good woman at home, behind every great man, there's an even greater woman, I think. But he's got it going on right now, man. His head's straight. He knows what his job is. He feels happy. And when Rashford is happy, I've always said, you saw him last year, he had stints of it where he would run into players a lot. He would get the ball, run, be very direct, but he wasn't direct with any intelligence. It was just a direct run, and it was very easy to track, easy to stop. Trying to do too much, trying to show off, trying to get back to the form that he knew he was.
Shooting from everywhere as well.
Shooting all the time.
Remember why he was against Newcastle?
He had this thing on auto, bruv. He just needed to chill out a little bit. So he was. Now you can see that he's more methodical. He knows where the goal is, and he's been told to get into positions and know when to make certain actions, and just the football intelligence side. And I think that's what Ten Hag's really good at. His football knowledge and football brain is to the level where he can coach Rashford into saying, analysing his game, saying, this is the position you were in last season, what did you do at this point? And this is the stage where he would run and do a direct thing.
Do you know who's been huge for that? Sorry to interject. Benny McCarthy.
Yeah.
Benny McCarthy came in as the attacking coach about 4 or 5 months ago now. And since Benny McCarthy's come in, Rashford's box instincts have got so much better. Yeah. And Benny McCarthy was like, people our age and younger might not know too much about Benny McCarthy, but he was Champions League winner at Porto under Jose Mourinho, and he was a very steady Premier League striker when he was at Blackburn.
Well, he got Golden Boot,
Yeah,
or he might have him or second or something that year for Blackburn. He got like 19, 20 goals. He
scored a lot of penalty box goals as well. Yeah. And I think he's he's got Rashford in his positions. Ten Hag talks a lot about mechanisms.
Yeah.
The Dutch love that word. Van Gaal used to love it as well. So I think they're going over these mechanisms with Rashford. Martial's a different type of player, but with Rashford, and I think even with Garnacho as well, I think he's starting to adopt that. I think I seen a stat the other day, yesterday, he had the most touches in the opposition box yesterday, and he was only on the pitch for 15 minutes.
He's so direct, man.
He's so direct.
He plays with no fear whatsoever. Like, he's got no inhibition in terms of him driving at players. Like Kyle Walker, I would say, is a lot of players play with fear again. They think, he's really fast and I can't get around him. But Donny was just going at him, and he just didn't care. Like that assist he got, he don't get me wrong, he tried the pass, he got the ball back, he was a bit lucky, but he tried it again, he got back, dropping shoulders, he looks unplayable in terms of his age, 18 years old. What was I doing at 18? Definitely not that.
I said last week.
Yeah. We're going to run that back again.
He's twisting up people, getting assists in the Premier League. He's, that goal against Fulham. Even the other day when he played in the Cup, he had a couple of chances and I thought, he missed them and people would criticise him.
He's
18. He's 18 years old. Like you can allow him to have that, but he's getting in the positions, and that's what's important. People say about what's his name, Darwin Núñez at Liverpool. Oh, he's a shit player because he misses opportunities. Bro, he's in the positions to get them goal scoring opportunities, and that's not easy. As a striker, you'll see that. Haaland's very similar. It's about being in the right position, knowing where the ball's going to land, knowing where to be in the box is what's going to get you goals eventually. Finishing comes with time, with confidence, and you've seen it with Rashford. Get in the positions where you're going to score goals, and you're going to score goals eventually.
It's the same as we've seen it with Ronaldo. When he was very young, he was very much similar to Garnacho in terms of there was that fearlessness. He was skinny. He was a bit rough around the edges in the way he looked and the way he played. The decision making wasn't quite there. But I think as he matured as a player, he and it was probably to do with the different great coaches he had with the Fergies, the Mourinhos, the Ancelottis. These guys obviously instilled these things into him. And I think Garnacho, Ten Hag's managing him excellently.
Yeah.
He's not allowing him to get too high. He's having to earn his starts and earn his appearances off the bench. He scored against Fulham and then the next game he didn't start.
Yeah.
It's great. Keep him on earth. But obviously give him the game time he needs to develop. He's played in the Cups. There's still that tension around the contract situation, same as with Rashford as well.
Yeah.
I do think those situations will get sorted out if Champions League football's secured.
Yeah.
But you got to let these kids play, and you got to let them play with freedom, which I think Ten Hag's doing, and I think that was the perfect change yesterday to bring him on. I was in the group chat, I was calling for Elanga, and my thinking behind it was very similar in terms of the directness, but Garnacho is obviously the right change. But that game needed someone to just get on the ball and just fucking run. Run, man. Just do something. Give Walker something to think about, because I think on that side, I don't know whether Rashford was still carrying that injury that he got in the first half, but he was kind of within himself a little bit in terms of getting him behind. But yeah, man. I think the young talents is good.
He got him behind for the first goal, and that's a controversial one, I think.
Oh yeah, how can we forget that?
That was
that goal there.
I didn't want to talk about it, bro.
Yeah. I had to say it, man, because it is. Yeah.
Letter of the law. Apparently, it's a goal because Rashford didn't touch it.
Nah.
Come on, man. He shields the ball.
Who knows anymore, though, innit? Who knows anymore?
Because it's not a goal. It is.
It's not.
It's not a goal. It hurts me to say it. It's not a goal. Like I've looked at the rules.
I don't fucking need to say it, bro.
It
makes it even better.
Obviously, I don't care that it's not a goal because we scored and it's been given. But VAR room's definitely got Sir Alex in the rear. But it's if you look back at that goal, Rashford clearly intervenes with the run of Akanji, the position of Ederson. The ball's clearly meant for Rashford. I'm sorry, Casemiro, he was aiming for Rashford there. Yeah. Bruno's coming in on the side. So you've got Kyle Walker's got an eye on Bruno. He's also got an eye on Rashford, who's making a run. Ederson's come out to position himself to stop the shot from Rashford. Akanji, again, is running alongside Rashford to stop him making that cutting down on the right-hand side. He's interfering with every single one of them defenders and goalie's reaction to be in that position. If he's not there, Akanji intercepts that pass. If he's not there, Ederson is in his goal, or he's
I still think Ederson's. That's one thing I do still think Ederson's there, because Ederson's position in terms of being aggressive off his line. I think I agree on terms of Akanji and Ake. I think I don't know, because the ref's flag wasn't up.
But they've been told not to put their flag up.
They've been told not to put their flag up, but then surely defenders should then assume that, surely then Akanji and Ake have got to make the run towards the ball. They've got to keep an eye on Bruno as well, because they've got to assume that they've just got to play to the whistle, basically.
Yeah, and that's the only thing that the interpretation side comes into it, because they do have to play to the whistle. I agree. They have to play to the whistle. However, in moments like that, when you're I think Akanji said he was so certain. He saw where Rashford was. He looked at him before the pass was made. He knew he was in an offside position. When you're so certain of that and you're clear, you know that the flag is not going up until the play is ended. It's very difficult as if you're in a game situation to then react in that way. And I feel very harshly for them. I think we deserved the goal. I think because we were sort of coming into the game a little bit more. But in terms of the goal itself, if that was against Man United, I'll be here effing and blinded about that, because it's very, very, very harsh against City, I think, and that's a lot from me.
What I think is that with that sort of rule, you can just have a player standing way offside, hoof it to him, and he leaves it. Obviously, that is such a hypothetical situation.
You'll know full well in terms of. It happened to Arsenal a couple of years ago in the FA Cup.
Yeah, a bit different for me.
It's a little bit different, but Ramsey for me by the way, for the viewers, we're talking about the Alexis Sanchez goal in the FA Cup final against Chelsea, where the ball comes and Ramsey sort of stood on the edge of the keeper's box, like the 6-yard box.
Yeah.
And then Sanchez comes through. Ramsey moves out the way of the ball and then Sanchez scores, but Ramsey was in an offside position, and that was deemed that he wasn't interfering with the play. So it's similar, but it's different. Yeah,
it's similar. I think it's different because I think where City would feel more aggrieved is obviously Rashford looks, he's shielding. Like, he's clearly assisting Bruno to score there.
I have a hypothetical question. You can finish, but I'll have a hypothetical
question. Nah. Okay. You go, man.
So, in fact, I've got a couple of hypothetical questions, right?
Yeah.
Number one, if Akanji breaks Rashford's leg, right, and gets sent off, do they then call it back because he was offside and it's not a foul and they call for the offside?
They'll give him red just for dangerous play, right?
Well, I mean, it happened with Pickford a couple of years ago. He didn't get
he didn't get sent off. I think Pickford should have got sent off.
Yeah, so do I. But in that situation, if he fouls Rashford, and it's a dangerous foul, it's like a red card offence, does that then not count because he's offside?
Probably doesn't count.
And also as well, if Rashford, say, lets the ball through his legs, and Bruno runs onto it, is that offside as well? Does he interfere then?
Bruno...
So just so the ball comes and Rashford sort of lets it go through his legs, even though he's in offside position.
Yeah.
Because we've seen the famous Messi clip where he's done that and it wasn't offside.
That's the thing. I mean, I guess that is why the ruling is like that, because there's no right or wrong really. As much as I said my hypothetical one of standing up top and like just goal hanging, you said that. So I mean, ultimately, Man City just have to manage the game better.
Got to charge it.
Man City just have to be champions there, and like everyone says they're going to be, and just come out there with a 1-1.
Yeah, take 1-1 on Old Trafford. That's a good result.
Yeah. What is the issue this season, Man City? And to be honest, before the season started, I just thought, obviously, it lost the Community Shield 3-1. I watched that game. I saw Haaland. I was like, Haaland missed a few sitters, but I was like, it's not sticking. Is there a little bit of a Haaland issue at the moment with City? Because yes, this guy's bagging goals, but there was a good MOTD analysis where he was coming deep, trying to link the play. But when he comes deep, he's not mobile.
He looks awkward, bro.
He's not mobile, so he can't turn. He will just give it straight back.
Yeah.
Someone like a Aguero or even a Jesus can get the ball
even to an Anthony Martial as well.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of looking to me now, when City attack, it's just less fluid. It's more...
It's hero ball.
It's hero
it's
ball.
It's KDB and Haaland hero ball.
Yeah, Kevin De Bruyne crossing, Grealish doing the same thing where he goes down the left, shot cross blocked or it might go through. I mean, that's one issue. You've got Foden, who's looking very out of form at the moment. He's not been... I mean, he had a decent World Cup in patches, but...
I don't think he did, bro.
Yeah, I mean, he's looking out of form.
To be honest.
But what's the issue with Man City, man?
Yeah, I think it's something Ten Hag identified yesterday because he stuck Fred on De Bruyne. And he sort of realised if you don't let De Bruyne get the ball in them half spaces and the whippage that he likes doing, then that's City's supply line gone. And the goal they scored, he managed to get away and put the ball into the box, and that's how they scored. That's the only goals, in my opinion, that's the only goals they score, is where Haaland gets the ball in the half space, or someone of that ilk gets the ball in the half space, puts it in, and Haaland or someone's there to tap it in.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely an issue in terms of the wingers aren't direct, and when they are direct, they're very predictable. I think they need someone who can run in behind off the wing, but also with power. I think the defence, that's a meaty defence. I mean, without John Stones, who's their best centre-back, I think they've
better
got...
than Diaz, you think?
Huh?
You think he's better than Diaz?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's better than Diaz. He's their best centre-back, and when he's not there, he's made of glass, really. He's always injured, so that's a problem area. I think Ake's okay, but what is he? Is he a left-back? Is he a centre-back? What is he? I think Cancelo is having a horror season. I think Walker, like we've discussed it in previous videos, I rate Kyle Walker a lot, but he's coming towards the end of of it now. His positioning's it's always been a bit meh, but before his blistering pace could save him. I think he's lost a little bit of that now. I think it's a bit weird. I think they need a bit of a rebuild, to be honest. I think they need a couple of wingers, they need a couple of fullbacks. They probably need to freshen up in midfield as well. I think, as much as I love Bernardo Silva, I think it's maybe time for him to move on as well. I think he's a great player, but I think maybe it's time to try something different there. Gundogan's contract's up, so he'll probably be off. I just think...
Do you reckon they got it wrong in the summer then? So, obviously, spent the big bucks on Haaland, and then got Calvin Phillips, Sergio Gomez as well. Calvin Phillips hasn't even played a minute really this season.
BMI is too high.
But it's more, it's more the departures: Sterling, Jesus, Zinchenko, and I don't necessarily. Me personally, I don't think it's a problem getting rid of those players. I don't think there's a massive problem getting rid of Sterling because it just wasn't working. I don't think Sterling was too happy there. I don't think.
And I guess Jesus as well, because Haaland came in. And they had Alvarez already as well.
Yeah, Alvarez would come in as well. But I just didn't understand really how you can't replace that profile of an outlet on the wings. I don't really know why Pep's drifted so far away from that from his second season where they've got 100 points.
Sane and Sterling.
Sterling. That was the best City I've seen.
Direct. So direct.
So direct, yeah. So... I mean, this is hindsight talk. It's easy to say.
Of course.
Yeah, we've got to respect Man City though, because listen, that interview that he had after the game, he was saying we don't care about the Premier League. We've won 5. This is to us Carabao Cup. It's nothing. All that Pep right now is doing.
Shit.
All that Pep is doing right now is trying to win the Champions League. He's brought in Haaland, a man who's scored goals in the Champions League notoriously. It's a completely different thing. The Champions League to the Prem. I'll be honest with you, they're. Second, third gear most of the time in the Premier League at the moment. They're looking surely they're beatable now, and it's a long game. They know that there's going to be injuries and risk of injury throughout the Premier League season. He needs a Champions League to not have his name tarnished for that having that Premier League success. He hasn't won a Champions League with this team, and he should have done.
He's not won without Messi. He's not won a Champions League without Messi.
He still should have won the Champions League with this side. That final against Chelsea, he should have won that. There was no reason on this earth why Chelsea walked away with that Champions League that year, because that team, let's be honest, was nowhere near the level of that Man City team.
I feel like
nowhere near.
It's a weird one though, because like there's the whole Pep in big games overthinks it and loses it. I don't think he overthinked it. I think that's the strongest side he had available yesterday.
Yeah.
I don't think he overthought it. I just thought it's got a little bit stale in my opinion. I mean, they will be good. I think they will be good in Europe because they've got a great transitional threat in Haaland. But I'll be completely honest though. If they come up against a Real Madrid or they come up against PSG, like I still fancy them, but I don't think. I know they're trying to win the Champions League. I don't think. Like, imagine yesterday, that was PSG with their front line, or a Bayern Munich who know how to win games, or a Real Madrid who have obviously been there, done that. You know, I think they lose. They could easily lose that tie.
Yeah, no, I agree. You can't switch it on and off in football. If you're not playing well in the Prem, chances are Champions Leagues, you're not going to play well either.
Unless you're Chelsea.
Again, I disagree. I think the teams that win the Champions League normally, unless you're at the complete highest level, and you're the Real Madrids of the world, you normally either do well in one of them and you don't win in the other one. You either scraping it in the Prem because it's a long haul and you do really well in the cup competition.
But
there's a lot of luck though in the Champions League.
Yeah, and I just think those ones come by like chance. You get a favourable draw and it's like, oh, we're in the semi-finals now.
Yeah.
It's not something you plan to do. It's not ever we're gonna give the Prem 50% this year. Champions League 100%. I don't
think that's Pep's way of doing things either.
Yeah, because he's a serial league and Carabao Cup winner, so I don't know why. Yeah, they lost that game as well. 2-0 up. There was 2 losses in a row.
Shout out Nathan Jones, man.
Yeah,
Nathan Jones. Yeah, outclassed Pep Guardiola. Nathan Jones from Luton, and Tottenham next for City. Doesn't get any easier for them. I think it does.